Hey, I'm Jan Scott with another Jan Scott Live. President Trump moves to ban flag burning. Yesterday, he passed an order. President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order requiring the Justice Department to investigate and prosecute people for the burning of the American flag, an activity the Supreme Court has ruled is legitimate political expression protected by the U.S. Constitution. But um, in cases where the law enforcement feels that it will lead to law enforcement or and it amounts to fighting words, you can be arrested. Civil liberties advocates and constitutional scholars question both the legality and merit. Well, of course, the ACLU. I mean, basically, they're commies. They uh, they will only protect people on the left. Although they used to protect the Ku Klux Klan because they said they had to. Um, but so, what do you think of this? I have the American flag behind me. I will not show people burning the flag. It's. I think if you disagree with your government, I think that's one thing. You're always supposed to love your country, the USA, the United States, the freest nation in the world. To desecrate our flag and burn it, that really is, you might as well burn yourself because that's what you're doing. The American flag represents the soul of the United States of America, not the government. Okay. You can protest the government, disagree with the government, but I mean, this is tantamount to defecating in your own. So, do I agree with Donald Trump? I mean, I think I like it, and I'll tell you why. Because he's taking the bull by the horns and he's wrestling this giant bull to the dirt and saying, okay, well, let's arrest people for burning the flag. Usually, flag burning is always in a giant crowd. There's some riot going on, and we know pretty much who the people are that do it. I remember when uh, was it Al Qaeda, I think, burned an American flag after they attacked our embassy in Africa. And then it showed the Chinese burning our flag. And all the news stations showed it. And it pissed me off. So I happened to be in charge of the free speech stage at the Boulder Creek Festival. We had a stage. So I went down to Boulder Army Store, bought a Chinese flag, held it up on a flagpole, and lit that son of a bitch on fire. Sprayed, lighter fluid on it and lit it up. We videoed it, put it on TV. The police came over and said, "Well, you can't open flames, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever you say." So but it already burned. But that's kind of what I think of that. And I learned that a long time ago, when I was young and people were protesting America. And I ran into a couple of young people from New Zealand who said, you can dislike your government, and protest that, but you don't protest your flag. And they had the New Zealand flag hanging on the wall in their apartment in London. And they looked at me, this young couple, they were my age, and they said, "You Americans, um, you have no scruples, you have no morals." And I was like, "Wow," because I was, kind of a hip, cool guy. And they said, "You have to show some respect to your flag, to your country. You may disagree with your government. Go right ahead and do that." And so that's exactly I feel. Do you know that I fly the American flag at my house? We have a couple neighbors here that do. I think they looked around, probably said, "Well, it's probably okay. This guy's flying it." I always have done that. Now, we had an old neighbor that lived near me in my old house, and he used to fly the flag every day. And I used to ask him, I said, so why do you do that? I said, well, I was a World War II veteran. I fought for this flag. Might as well fly it. He was 80 something. He passed away. So that was another lesson. And then if you go out at East Boulder, you'll find a bunch of the houses. They'll have in the summertime flowers out, hanging baskets, and flying the red, white, and blue. I mean, look at the color. It's a beautiful flag. So let's see what happens with Donald Trump and this new law. This guy is he just he has a lot of balls, doesn't he? And I think a lot of Americans are going to agree with him, whether you are a Democrat or a Republican. As you can tell by my voice, I get somewhat emotional about this because when I see people that are so dumb and so young, and they're out there doing crazy things like burning the flag, or when during the whole George Floyd thing and the Michael Brown thing, they were burning cities and they got away with it under the Obama and the Biden administration. And Trump pretty much said, that's enough of that shit. No more burning down police stations, no more burning down cities. We're going to put an end to it. And if you are a Democrat or a Republican, I talk to a lot of people that are my age, they go, well, that's kind of bullshit, and we agree with it. So they actually agree with some of the things that Trump's doing, but they wouldn't tell anybody. But what do you think? Arresting people for burning the American flag, starting riots. I think it's a good idea. That's what I think about that. We'll see what the ACLU has. They're going to go to war with Trump, but I don't think they're going to lose. Why? Because he has a Supreme Court that backs him in everything. Jen Scott out.